This is Carl at National RV Detroit, and I'm going to walk you through this 2022 Flagstaff high wall trailer. It's a hard side, meaning that instead of having canvases like a pop-up does, it has hard sides. It's got this this dormer on the front, plus a design like an A-frame. Okay, and the model number is T21TBHW. Okay, you can see that. Okay, so this is not a setup video. The manufacturer has some excellent videos. You can go to Flagstaff's website and look at all the setup videos and that sort of thing. I'm just going to go over some of the features just to get you more acquainted with it. So you have storage here. Now, the door side bed actually lifts up, and you can store a center cushion that turns the two single beds into a double. I'll show you when we get inside, but that, just so you know, that stores down in here also. So I'll show you that when we get inside. Obviously a utility table. You also have a griddle that comes with this. It's right here, I think. Yeah, so let me see if I can get a picture of it for you. There's the rack there, and there's the griddle itself. So it hangs on this rail right here, and then of course this is the LP line here with a quick connect, and that plugs into the griddle, so you can cook outside. Okay. This has a cassette toilet in it. Now the cassette toilets are made by Thetford. This is kind of a newer model, but just like the setup video, I'll direct you to with Thetford's video on their cassette toilets. It's the best way to learn. Plus, there's a packet inside the trailer that has basically brochures and manuals for all the components to this trailer. So basically, this is, it's called a cassette. So this is actually the black tank. It removes. You can see you can pull it right out if you need to, and dump it and wash it out and dump it. So it's just a removable black tank. And the toilet is right here. I'll show you that when we get inside also. All right. You have just regular scissor type stabilizers. There's a 3/4 inch crank which comes with it, or you can use a 3/4 inch socket on an electric battery powered drill, whatever you want to do. You've got this pull out storage bin here, and then of course you have a front trunk here. Okay. Now, get out of the water here. Okay. This has two LP tanks with an automatic changeover regulator, and then you have two deep cycle marine batteries right here. So keep that in mind. Let me look down here for a second. Okay, that's so good. So you have two deep cycle marine batteries. Now they're wired together as 12 volts, so the trailer would consider it as one battery. It just doubles the storage capacity, okay? Alright, so you have a 30 amp power cord, 30 feet long, right there. This is your water heater. The switch to operate is inside, but I'll pull this out and show you that. Let's see, I'll set it up here so I don't lose it. It runs on gas, right? There's your burner. That's a pressure release valve, of course, like on every water heater. And this is where you drain it from, right here. So it takes an 1 1/16 6-point socket with maybe a 6-inch extension, so you can put a ratchet or a bar on it to take it in and out. It's got an anode rod attached to it, so it has a sacrificial rod. It's about, maybe 6 or 8 inches long. Of course, never take the plug out when you're under pressure, or else it'll shoot out of there like a cannonball. And also, never do it when it's hot, so you don't want to get scalded. So that's important. Okay. That's just the vent for your furnace. Refrigerator service panels. Outside shower. This is the sink drain right here for your sink. You could take these threads right here are the same as a garden hose, so you can either make up a small one or whatever you want to do, as long as you want it. If you want to drain it, take it to a drain, or you just want to go to a 5-gallon bucket or wherever you need to drain it to. Okay. Now, this is just a signal through, campground cable through. All right. You winterize the trailer under here. I can't really show you, but you'll have to look into it a bit, but that's where you draw the antifreeze in. This is your city water connection right here. The most common way to get water to the trailers through the city water. Now if you go into a campground that doesn't have plumbing on the campsite, you can pre-fill your fresh water tank right here and then use the onboard pump, and everything all the plumbing will work just like you've got city water, even though you're pumping from the tank. So you got two options. This is your actuator to lift the roof right here. The switch is on the other side. I'll show you. Always remember there's two latches, right? One on each side. You got to have those unlatched before you hit the up switch. That's important, of course. Now behind here, this is just to cover this has an air or a heat pump air conditioner on it. So it'll both heat and cool. It'll only heat, till when the temperature's down to maybe 40, 45 degrees, somewhere in there. When it gets colder than that outside, you can use the furnace, which runs on propane. I'll show you all that when we get inside. But this is a heat pump, so it's an air conditioner that will also run backwards to heat. All right, more storage. This device here, the switch is inside, but this is a Wi-Fi Ranger. It's a signal booster for public Wi-Fi. I'll tell you about that. It also has a paid feature if you wanted to get a SIM card for it, so you could use it for, you could get cellular service through it. But most people don't do that. They just use the public Wi-Fi signal booster option. Okay. All right. Of course, the lights are LED all the way around. Okay. So let's go inside. I said I was going to show you the switch. This is the switch for the power roof. Not all hard sides have a power roof. This is a high walled hard side, so it's a bigger trailer, so it has the powered roof. Okay, by the way, you can do the roof manually if you need to. If you had some kind of a problem or an accident and that your actuator wasn't working, you usually have to stand on something, and it's better if you have two people, but all these have, these two roof sections have counterbalance springs in it. So you can see right there, this is one right here. So it's one person in an emergency could put it up if they had to, but it's better if you have two. Okay. All right. So of course we have we have a microwave here, and then on this side we have all the switches and the radio and the thermostat. Now the thermostat, you just hit it once to light it up, and then you can, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, I'll just sort of talk you through it. That's fan speed there, right? There's cool, which is the air conditioner, furnace right there, heat pump, which is the air conditioner running backwards, right? And then off. So you can select all that from here. Just remember that the heat pump is only good till it gets, till you're in your 40s, something like that. Then it'll stop. It can't get any more heat from the enough heat from the atmosphere to heat the trailer. So then you would switch over to your furnace, which is a regular propane furnace. Okay. Your sound system it does everything you need. You have Bluetooth, so you can hook up wirelessly. It's an AM or FM radio. You can stream off this USB. That's an HDMI in right there. You have two speaker zones, zone 1 and zone 2. 1 is inside the trailer, 2 is outside the trailer. So it does everything you need. Of course, you've got USB charge here. Now, these are your lights here, except this one right here is the Wi-Fi Ranger. It's on, right? So I told you it was a signal booster, and it works really well. I don't know if you're going to be able to read this, but I'll just you have to take my word for it. The top line here is the name of your Wi-Fi Ranger. In this case, it's Sky4, let me get closer here, 7303 it looks like. So when you're using your phone or your family's devices, tablets, phones, whatever, you'll look in your Wi-Fi section and you'll find that right there. And that's your Wi-Fi Ranger. So you'll make up a password so it can log on automatically when you have the option to log on to it without, you store the password. And on the bottom here, it's an address. You type this address into your browser, and it'll take you to the web page that sees everything the Wi-Fi Ranger sees, basically. So what you would do is you would log on. The middle line is a temporary password, which says "Change me now," 7303. It looks like. So you're going to make up your own password but you can initially log on using this temporary password. And then what you do is you would pick out the campground Wi-Fi, for example. If they give you a password or something, you can put the password in there and connect it. So the idea is you don't have to connect all your phones individually to the public Wi-Fi. You just connect the Wi-Fi Ranger, and then your phones will connect to it automatically. It's a really good signal booster. It cleans up public Wi-Fi, and you get much better bandwidth from it. So, okay. Hopefully I explained that okay to you. All right, let's move on a little bit. Now there's this. You see, there's a water filter here and a filter wrench here. Under here, there's a canister, and you can actually use the filter if you want. A lot of people don't use it because they don't drink the water. It's basically up to you. If you do use it, you got to change it every year. So when you winterize, you'll throw it out, and after you de-winterize in the spring, you'll put a new one in for the season. Okay. All right, I told you there underneath here there's storage. This piece here, which has a rigid board underneath it, and this one here, same thing. This will fit in here to become one large bed, right? When you want two single beds, you can store these other parts underneath here. So everything's clean and put away. This is your heat pump air conditioner here. All right. You got a hanging pantry there. Your sink is very simple. You know, one valve on it, or actually it has hot and cold, but it's all one in one. You have your cooktop here. Now this one you basically go to light, you depress it, and then you spark it. See, just like that. So that's just a safety. You have to depress it plus spark it. That way, kids can't turn it on, or you can't accidentally. Little kids can't turn it on. You can't accidentally bump it and turn it on. That sort of thing. So that's new. That's improved anyway. Well, if we're talking about that, this device right here is your carbon monoxide and LP gas detector. See how it's green? It should always be green like that. It'll alert you if it detects carbon dioxide or LP gas leak. If it goes off, you take everybody outside, leave the door open, shut the gas off at the front, and figure out what's going on, of course. Also, if it beeps very slowly, it's telling you your battery's low. It's also a low battery alarm. I'm going to set it off so you can hear it. LP gas is good. Carbon dioxide coming up. Now low battery alert. And then back to green. It should always be green. If it's not, you get it serviced. Okay, this is a GFCI plug. All the plugs in the trailer, including the one on the outside, are wired through this. So if you're using an appliance outside and it pops, you'll reset it in here. Okay, this is your water heater switch. That's simple. Okay, now this device here is your power converter. It converts AC to DC power. So on this side, you see you got regular circuit breakers like you'd see at home, and they're all labeled. Right, that's 110 AC or 120 AC if you prefer. Then it's converted to 12 volt DC on this side. So you got 12 volt fuses here, plus they're all labeled. All right. If they actually blow, they'll actually light up so you can see them, which makes it easy. You can see it right through this perforation here. Now this is also a battery tender, so as long as you're plugged in, this will be charging your two batteries. So it's semi-smart in the sense that it'll understand how much energy your battery has and needs. If it's almost completely full, it'll just trickle a couple amps to keep it topped off. If it's low, it can send 10 amps or whatever it needs, but it makes that decision after it analyzes the battery. So, okay. Also, so anyway, that's how your battery's charged when you're plugged in. When you're pulling it down the road, of course, your tow vehicle's alternator will be charged with the battery. Okay. All right. This is saying it's wired for solar. There's wiring behind here, and probably up on the roof also, but I can't tell you that for sure on this model. I didn't prep it, but it's wired for solar. You don't have a panel or anything like that, but you have the pre-wiring. Okay, so this is a three-way refrigerator here. Let me get down to where I can... This one's not going to stay open for me, so... Basically on and off, very simple. There you go. Now this will take 3 energy sources. It'll run on AC power, it'll run on DC power, which is the battery basically, and it'll run on LP gas. So the most common way to run this is on auto AC. See that? You probably can't read it that well, but that's auto AC. The reason they call it auto is because it always looks for AC. So when you're plugged in, it'll find the power and it'll run the refrigerator on AC current. If there's a power failure or it can't find AC, it'll automatically switch over to gas and light it on gas, right? That's why it's called auto. So if you're gone for the day and you have a power failure at the campground, it'll automatically switch over to gas and you won't spoil your food. Now you can run it on DC, which is off the batteries, right? You can do that when you're pulling it down the road, for example, to keep it the food that's in there cool, and you'll be getting the power from the battery, and then the battery will be being charged by your tow vehicle's alternator. So, okay. So anyway, so your temperatures over here, generally you're going to have it up all the way. I mean, once it starts to get cold outside, you can turn it down a little bit, but generally speaking, it'll be up all the way. It has a small freezer in it and refrigerator. Okay. I'm just looking here to see that, make sure I didn't forget anything for you. Okay. Now, if you want to access the water heater, the reason you want to do that is because on the back of it are bypass valves, right? The bypass valves allow you to pump antifreeze into this system without getting any in the water heater. If you get it in the water heater, it leaves a really foul taste and smell, and you can't really get rid of it, so that's why you would bypass it. That's all done under here. You can see there's 2 screws, one here and one in the back. They're number 2 square-headed screws. Every screw in here is number 2 square-headed, so you need to get one of those bits for your drill. But behind here, basically you have the furnace, the power converter, and the water heater. So that's where you would access all that stuff in, okay? And last but not least, I mentioned the toilet. I'm not going to go into depth how it works. I will tell you, though, that this one swivels. I know I'm up close with the camera and I have a hard time getting a good picture, especially if I'm not thinking about it. But these are just components to it here. Your flush is down here. Here. The flush is down here. You can see it opens the trap in the sink, and then you get water right here from this button, right? So this one's made by Thetford. Like I said, there'll be a literature in your packet here. But a great way to learn is to go to the manufacturer's website and look at their operation videos, okay? All right, you have a 3-speed exhaust fan, which is really good because it'll really pull out the heat on those days where it's not quite hot, it's just a little warm. The great thing about having this, it's a pop-up, but it has hard sides, like I said, is there's actual rigid foam insulation in these panels, so you get a R factor unlike a tent where you don't get any, basically. A tent it's an R factor of 0, so you can actually heat and cool it a bit without having to have the air conditioner or the heater running full time. And it also gives you out west during bear season, you can still camp in it because it's got hard sides. So there's a lot of advantages over a canvas pop-up with this one. So okay, so I think that's basically it. First, I want to thank you for purchasing your trailer here at National RV Detroit. And second of all, you want to remember to check your seals. This is important with any trailer you buy, no matter what style it is. You want to do it every 3 months or on a regular basis. So you're going to look at the foam seals on it. Just when you bring it up and down, just look and make sure they're sticking really well, like they're supposed to. Then you're going to look at anything that's caulked, like the corners, for example. You'll check them out, make sure they're good and tight, and if you start to see any separation at any of these places, basically you look at every place you see caulk from the factory. So if it starts to separate, you take care of that immediately. You just buy a tube of it. Don't get caulk from a hardware store. Go to the RV place and get the right stuff. It's not expensive, you know, $10 or so for a caulk tube of it. So you always want to make sure you check your seals and the sealant on the trailer and make sure it's all in good shape. Like I said, that's not just with this trailer, it's with every trailer ever made, so that's very important. Okay? Thank you very much.